Today on MLK Day, I want to talk about a part of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy that doesn't get as much attention, his fight for economic justice and reparations. Yes, y'all favorite civil rights activist wanted reparations. Let's talk about it. In the final years of his life, Dr. King expanded his focus beyond civil rights. Particularly, he wanted to address systemic poverty and economic inequality. In 1967, he launched the Poor People's Campaign, which was a movement that was supposed to bring all races to D.C. to demand economic justice. What they wanted was an economic bill of rights, which included guaranteed income, affordable housing for all, and full-time employment. But for Black Americans, this fight was even deeper. Dr. King explicitly connected reparations to the legacy of slavery and systemic racism. In his book, Why We Can't Wait, Dr. King wrote that America owes a specific debt to Black Americans, and you might have heard a quote from one of his famous speeches where he said, "We're coming to get our check." Slaves provided hundreds of years of free forced labor. That's generations of unpaid wages, stolen wealth, and systemic exploitation. When slavery ended, we weren't given Instead, we were forced into systems like sharecropping and Jim Crow laws and redlining and mass incarceration, further stripping wealth from Black communities. Dr. King understood this, and he said, quote, "It is a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself up by his own bootstraps," end quote. Dr. King believed that reparations and economic justice wasn't just about money. It was about dignity and humanity and repairing centuries of exploitation. And he wasn't delusional. He knew it wasn't a quick fix. He called for a radical redistribution of wealth and resources so that everyone could benefit and not just the privileged. Tragically, Dr. King was assassinated in April of 1968, just weeks before the Poor People's Campaign March on Washington. And without his leadership, the movement struggled to complete its goals. But honestly, his death was supposed to cause that. In 1999, a Memphis civil jury found that the United States government was involved in the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., which, if you're familiar with COINTELPRO, wasn't a surprise to a lot of us. But the fight for reparations and economic justice still continues today. So today, as we honor Dr. King, let's remember the full legacy, not just the dream, but the demands: reparations, economic justice, and a fair and equitable future for all.